Now, I have a picture here of a doorstop. It is a formerly valuable part of someone's computer architecture. It's an old Mac from 1985-ish. Some of you may recognize one of these things. It weighed a decent amount, and so therefore it makes a good doorstop. The point is, the technology changes, right? The tools change. This is still the most important tool of all. So I'm using this photo to nudge you forward into, don't get overly locked into, I've got to use this tool and this version of this tool. Use these tools. Don't get overstressed about what version it is. Use the most appropriate tools to accomplish your goals as an educator, as a learner, as a geospatial technology professional, etc. This is the perfect time for spatial thinking in education and society because of these three trends. There's a growing awareness of complex global issues that increasingly affect our everyday lives, like I've talked about earlier. Invasive species, energy, water, human health, political instability, etc. There's also a general public use of geotechnologies. How many of you have a fitness app? How many of you have used a rideshare? Who's eaten yesterday? That supply chain, what you had to eat, was influenced by geospatial technologies, was enabled by geospatial technologies, and many more, right? Finding your way across campus or to your grandmother's house or to another city or choosing places on vacation based on a web map. You're using geospatial technologies, so the general public is actually using these tools increasingly, tracking a package that's delivered to your house, etc. There's so many more examples. The power that you're using right now to watch this video, that was all generated through utility companies using geospatial technology to map all of their transformers, their electric lines, etc. And finally, the Internet of Things, having sensors, including the 8 billion strong human sensor network, on traffic, on stream gauges, on wildfire perimeters, earthquakes, etc. So getting these live feeds from people and also machine-based sensors out there on the landscape is feeding this ability for us to do several things. Namely, I want to map it now or as near real time as possible. I don't care about the wildfire perimeters from 2 years ago, unless I'm doing post-mitigation cleanup still. So there's a case for that. But increasingly, people want to map it now or as near real time as possible. So these three trends are bringing us to a perfect time to value spatial thinking in education and society. What are my top 5 skills for the geo-enabled future? For those of you watching this that are geospatial professionals, you're educators, you work with educators, you have kids, you have an alma mater, you have a street, a street near your house where there's a school and you care about that school. Whatever those, if you don't care about any of those reasons, what about your future employees for your own workplace? You care about where they're going to come from. If we don't pay attention to education, right, we're not going to have that workforce coming into your organization that's knowledgeable. First of all, I think curiosity, asking deep and rich questions and thoughtful questions is important as we go forward. Being able to ask those questions. So I encourage you to watch, those of you that are watching this video, if you're a student, ask questions that your teacher or professor is not even asking you to ask. If you're an employee, ask questions that your boss is not even asking you to ask. Those are the kinds of employees that ESRI, my organization, and other organizations really and truly value. Go deep and ask questions. Be curious, though. Curiosity feeds your asking questions and also feeds your being tenacious about using the tools. I got to get this done because I'm really curious and I'm gonna solve this problem tonight with these tools. Ability to work with data. We always talk about the data explosion, big data world. It's truly here, and it's been here in terms of geospatial technology for a long time. Geospatial professionals have always been big data people, even if we didn't call ourselves that years ago. But being able to work with a large variety and volume of data is important in geotechnologies in particular. Remote sensing imagery. I talked about the Internet of Things, the sensor network, crowdsourced data, field tools, drone imagery, vector data, land cover data, population data, census data, agricultural data, etc., weather data. Number 3, understanding geographic foundations, map projections, scale, designing a geodatabase, going out in the field and collecting meaningful data, planning a field trip and what kind of equipment you're going to use and what methods and what units are you going to use, etc. Geographic foundations are important. Geodesy, the measurement of the planet Earth, the oblate spheroid that we're on right now. Being adaptable, to new situations, new learning modalities, new ways of serving your geospatial data, sharing it in web mapping applications of various kinds, story maps, instant apps, etc. Adapting to new teams, new international venues if possible, and so on. Being a lifelong learner, I think, is important. And finally, being able to articulate why you're doing what you're doing and why it matters to your organization and what benefit it's bringing to your organization and to the greater society is important. You get your 30-minute, your 1 minute, your 5 minute, your 2 hour, everything, all those things. Speech, articulation, workshop, if need be, in place, ready to go at a moment's notice when you're asked for it. Being able to articulate it to the person in the airline seat next to you also. Hey, what do you do? What's your line of work? What's your career? And why this actually matters. Practice on those people that you don't even know. I have a series on my Our Earth video channel of a series of elevator speeches. You can use mine as inspiration, idea planting, but make it your own voice. Make it your own articulated voice about what you're doing and why it matters. So effective communication, I think, is very important. Despite the rise of general public use of geotechnologies, there's still this, hey, I've got Google Maps on my phone. Why do I need a geospatial person? There's still that element. Geospatial is still a bit hard for people to understand and to grab a hold of. It's sort of like the sand in a conglomerate. We've got cobbles and boulders in a conglomerate. That sand or those dirt grains, those soil grains that bind those cobbles and boulders and pebbles together is hard to grasp. It slips through your fingers, so it's difficult to understand for a lot of people. So being able to articulate that, I think, is important going forward. Hey, no picnics. I love this picture. I'm not sure why it says this, but we've got some serious issues on our planet, right? It's hardly a picnic here on planet Earth. There's some joyous moments, but we've got some serious concerns, don't we? Study the Earth. Understand the interaction between land cover, land use, climate, vegetation, land forms, the ocean, the atmosphere, systems, cycles, the carbon cycle, the hydrologic cycle, etc. Also enjoy it. Enjoy this beautiful, wonderful planet that we have, because I think if we just study it, we don't actually enjoy it, we're not going to have this Earth ethic. We're not going to truly love the planet. And what we appreciate and love, we actually value. So I'm encouraging you to get out there and explore this planet of ours. Get out there and actually enjoy it. What we value, we want to then protect. So I think they're all tied together. And I love this quote from David Orr, Earth and Mind on Education, Environment, and the Human Prospect, 1994, but 30 years later, it's still incredibly relevant. Now more than ever, we need people who can think broadly and who understand systems, connections, patterns, and root causes, how to think in terms of whole systems, how to find connections, how to ask big questions, how to use big data, I'm going to add that, and how to separate the trivial from the important. Think about that. Thanks. Sleepwalking into the future. It's our choice. Are we going to blindly go forward without these considerations of geographic importance and patterns, or are we going to embrace these perspectives and deep knowledge and big data and geographic technologies to make a more informed, wise, sustainable, resilient, equitable future that we all want to achieve? So why the geographic perspective and geospatial technologies are critical to 21st century education, primary, secondary, university, community, technical, tribal colleges, universities, lifelong learning, museums, libraries, after-school programs, etc., all of education, and to the greater society. I hope I've made a case that these things matter. I'd love to hear your feedback. So please send me some comments, and you take care and think about our planet and its people and how you can benefit them. Thanks.